Good day everyone, I'm Kristel Bautista. I am from 1A3 PS Criminology first year, and today I'm going to share my understanding and learning reflections in all the lessons that we have tackled in Introduction to Criminology. On the first day, and on the first day of discussions, our instructor introduced us in our subject, Introduction to Criminology. The lesson 1 is all about understanding criminology. I've learned that the study of criminal started in Europe, and in the Philippines, PCCR became the pioneer school which offered PS Criminology in 1950. I also learned that the word crimen, meaning crime accusations, in Logos Luhia, which means study, and under the understanding the criminology is all the pioneers of criminology, where all of them contribute and played a big part in establishing greater understanding towards crimes. Dr. Cesar Lombroso is the world-famous authority in the field of criminology and known as the father of modern criminology. In criminology, there are also sciences or fields in the study of crimes. The sociological criminology, or the study that focus on the variables that are conducive to criminal actions. I have learned that criminology have a lot of factors to be distinguished and learn how environment and socioeconomic status contribute for a person to be driven to commit a crime. For example, in the socioeconomic status, when you were poor, you were more likely or intended to commit crime because you needed money so badly, and sometimes people discriminate you towards your socioeconomic status. On the second lesson, we discuss about the nature of criminology. It is a short discussion, however, I learned a lot of things. Our instructor taught us about the criminology as an applied science. As psychology can be prominent factor on during a person to commit a crimes. So it's all about the psychological needs or psychological factors that drive on a person to commit a crime. And for chemistry, medicines, and physics, mathematics is for crime detections or use in finding physical evidences, as the science or medicines and math is used to distinguish criminal detections, especially in forensic science and criminalistics. Criminology as a social science because crime exists in the society. In the society, this is where all the crimes happened. Regardless of the size of a society, crime will be possibly take place. Criminology as dynamic. Every year there will be changes, and that is how criminology changes. For example, for now this crime is not called a crime, but later on it will become nationalistic because the study of crime and law shall exist in the national theater. On the third discussions, we tackled about the objects of interest in criminology. The four objects in criminology are crimes, criminal act, criminalists, perpetrators, criminal behavior, and the study of victim or victimology. Crime is an antisocial act. It is an act violating law on its legal point. It is an act or omission in violations of criminal law. Therefore, generic names for crime, such as offense, an act that is punishable by special law; felony, an act or omission that is punishable by revised penal code; delinquency, an act in violation of simple rules and regulations; infraction of law, an acts that are in violations of ordinance such as municipal or city ordinances. We also study the legal classification of crime. In legal classification of crime, there are different legal classification of crimes depending on what situation is given or what crime a person committed. A criminal is a person who commit a crime and has been convicted by a court. On the fourth day of discussions, we have tackled the approaches and theories of crime. In the subjective approach, it is more focused on the perpetrator of a crime or the accused itself. It includes anthropological, medical approach or the medical examinations of the for the explanation of mental and physical condition of the individual. For the biological approach or the heredity, physiological or the deprivations of primary needs of an individual that drive him to commit the crimes. But just like what I said, that if you are deprived of primary needs and you badly need something in order to survive, you are intended to commit crimes such as robbery or murder because you want something or you need something, but you cannot provide it for yourself rather than doing crimes rather than doing crimes. For the psychological or the deprivations of psychological needs that result to repulsive sentiment and actions. In psychiatric, this approach explains the mental disease why a person violates norms and laws. Last is the psychoanalytical, where imbalance of ego and superego cause deviations of the individual to the norms of the society. The objective approach is more focused on the environmental factors affecting a person to create or commit crime. Under it is geographical, ecological, economic, and social cultural. The contemporary is the combination of the two internal and external factors. In the theories of crime causations includes demonological theory, or people believe in the early beginnings that a person committed a crime because he was possessed by demons. So there are no scientific explanation to it, but because there is no science before, people believe that a person is possessed by demons. That's why he commit crimes, as demons symbolize bad. I also learned the three types of broad schools. The classical school of thoughts believes that the persons have free will and must be punished regardless of age, gender, and status. The purpose of penalty is retribution. The classical school of thought focuses on a person's free will, and they believe that he decided to do that, so he must be punished. The neoclassical school of thought believes that a human have free will but not so absolute. The last one is the positivist school of thoughts, where they believe that criminals should be treated or undergo treatment or as committing crime is like an illness. So they believe that a criminal shouldn't be punished because they ill or psychologically sick. So they need treatment in order to be rehabilitated. In the journal number 5, in these lessons we have discussed about introduction to criminal investigation and criminalistic. It is a short topic and discussion, however, but full of things to learn. Investigation is the most important process in identifying a criminal, on providing accused to be held responsible or not. We learn that three I's of criminal investigations. First is the information or the data that investigator acquired. Interview or the simple questioning, asking questions. Did you do that? Where have you been? Where are you when in this hour? Where were you when this crime occurred? Interrogations are the skillful questioning. The investigator badly want to acquire some information in the accused, so they do some logical questioning and so on and so forth. One of the major work of a police officer is to investigate, and as a future police officer, I am prepared to learn these kind of things regarding investigations of a criminal, crime scenes, and crime itself.
Kaya nga napaka-importante ng imbestigasyon sapagkat napakalaking tulong ng imbestigasyon sa paglutas ng isang krimen o ng isang fenomena. Dahil dito, napapatunayan natin kung ang akusado ba ay may sala o wala at nakakatulong ito upang bigyan natin ng hustisya ang mga biktima, lalo-lalo na ang pamilya nito.
Everything in an investigation have purpose. For example, the purpose of interrogation is to obtain confessions for the authority to easily solve a criminal case. If a person confesses something, it will be an advantage for the police officer to know the truth and to obtain facts that will prove an accused to be responsible on what he do or what crime he did. In the journal number 6, in these lessons we have discussed about the criminal behavior and how dominant it is to push a person to commit a crime. Criminal behavior plays a big part. Behavior will always be a big part in committing a crime. This will determine whether you did a bad thing or not, depending on the behavior you performed during the crime. We have classifications of behavior such as normal and abnormal behavior. Normal behavior because it is the standard behavior or what people shall behave in accordance with what people should follow. In normal behavior, this is what the society will want us to be. You need to behave like this, you need to behave like that, in all of that. And if you behave what people perceive if you behave what people wants you to be, it is called normal behavior. In abnormal behavior, because it is deviant behaviors from social expectations. If you do not act what society wants you to be, it is called abnormal behavior. This is where some insane people belong. There are different behavior that drives a person to commit a crime, but experiences may result to bad habits. I'm not saying that all persons who grew up experiencing bad things will be a criminal, but bad experiences is prominent in committing a crime.
Here, I have learned that oneself really have this huge factor affecting one's behavior. I learned that what you have been in your childhood can clearly affect what will you become in the future. This explains that bad experiences can result to bad attitude.
Psychological needs are more crucial than physical needs. Huge deprivations of physical needs may result to imbalance and repulsive actions. In patterns of criminal behavior, this focuses on phobias and disorder of a person. We learn that of there are a bunch of disorder a persons may have. Surprisingly, there are plenty of it. There are also sexual behavior leading to sex crimes. Crime of rape is one of the leading causes of crimes. When a person is indulged in imagination, he or she push her or himself to another person using force. The urge in sex drive exclude mental capabilities of a person to think right. For me, it's dangerous and need to be observed. Because if a person is indulged in sex imaginations, he or she more likely want it to experience. And when he cannot find one or he cannot find any partner to be in partner of sexual intercourse, he or she more likely to force a person to indulge in sex intercourses, whether it's a child or a woman.
Kaya nga nagkakaroon madalas ng murder na kasamahan ng rape. Bakit? Dahil minsan, kapag ang tao ay pinipilit niya ang sarili niya sa iba, pumapalag ang biktima. At dahil hindi makamit ng perpetrator ang nais niya sa isang babae o sa isang bata, nagre-resulta ito ng pagpatay niya dito dahil hindi niya ito mapapayag sa kanyang gusto.
In the journal number 7, the lessons that we have tackled is about the crimes in the modern world, the organized crime, non-index and index crime. I've learned that organized crime is an organization which create members to commit illegal crime. Examples of this are mob, mafia, syndicates, or Costa Nostra. They are usually violent and powerful because they are in a group, they are big or large group, they are more likely to be powerful and cannot be detected by an authority.
Pinatunayan lamang ng pag-aaral namin dito sa Introduction in Criminology na ang mga mafia or mob ay talagang violente katulad ng napapanood namin sa mga pelikula. Kadalasan, marami silang mga armas at nai-indulge ang sarili nila sa mga powerful na tao, lalong-lalo na ang mga politicians.
They work with an enforcer who make arrangements, a corrupter who bribes and buys, the corruptee, a public official but not part of the group. There are some public official that not part of the group, but the group is working for them or they working for the group. I've learned that just like in the movie, organized crime is violent and good in their line of work. They usually engage themselves from powerful politicians. They are professional criminals who commit crimes as professions. So they do crimes for a living, and it's in this living they support their needs and wants. The form of crimes they commit is destructive not only for property but for people's lives. For people's lives because they sometimes commit murders, arsons for properties and all of that. The next one is index crimes or violent crimes. I have learned that index crime is violent crimes that focuses on people's lives, such as murder or killing with aggravating circumstances, homicides and assault, robbery of persons, open place, private premises, etc. I also learned that there are different types of robber: the professional, the opportunist, addict, alcoholic, and muggers. I thought that once you steal, you were called robber, but it is way beyond that. And under the index crime is also rape because it distracts people's lives. We learned that non-index crime that focuses on property crime. Under this is theft, vandalism, conventional property crimes, destructive property crimes, etc. However, there are also non-index crime that includes people. Drug addiction is also part of non-index crime, not violent but includes destructions of people's lives. In journal number 8, our subject for the day is about correction, its punishment, retribution, system, process, and order. It is not only about going to jail after committing a crime, it is way beyond that. Imprisonments also give us reminder for everyone to stop them doing criminal, and I also learned that there are different or separate prisons for people who commit offenses and different form of crimes committed by different people. There are some prisons which offer extracurricular activities for prisoners such as farming, arts and craft, and etc. These are for rehabilitations and in reasons for make their life in prison more meaningful and productive. Imprisonments also give us reminder for everyone to stop them doing criminal, and I have learned that ancient way of penalty is more cruel than we have today. There were no existing word as human rights. These kinds of processes were eliminated long time ago. If those ancient form of punishments are still observed this day, I guarantee that multiple activist groups will protest and fight for human rights because human rights is very important, and torturing a person in a form of penalty is not accepted.
Nais ko din na maisip ng iba na hindi porket ang isang tao ay galing sa kulungan ay dapat na natin itong tratuhin ng iba sa atin. Maaaring nagkamali sila, ngunit may mga pagkakataon pa rin naman silang bumawi. Basta lamang at magpapakita sila ng remorse at pagbabago.
On the last topic. The next topic is all about the criminalistics. I have learned that criminalistics are very important in identifying a criminal. The criminalistics have two divisions, scientific and technological. The scientific focus on the medical examinations, the technological focus on physical evidences. I have learned that fingerprinting is the most valuable part of criminalistics as fingerprint of people are diverse and will never be the same. It is accepted universally, proof that it is accurate. Our instructor told us that even twins will never have the same fingerprints or friction ridges. The friction ridges is the line in the top of our fingerprint. I have also learned that different types of fingerprints such as ulnar loop, radial loop, plain arc, dented arc, plain whorl, central pocket loop whorl, double loop whorl, and accidental whorl, which is the proof that we are diverse and will never have the same fingerprints. So if a person commits crime and he leaves all his fingerprints, the authority or the police officers will definitely identify who commit the crime or who is the accused or the perpetrator. I also learned the forensics photography. It is important and serves as evidences to prove facts. For example, the perpetrator left his wallet in the crime scene. Through photograph, it will prove that the person did forget his wallet in the crime scene. Through photograph like mug file, when the perpetrator did the same thing, he or she were easily identified. For examples, you cannot bring the body in the court. So through photograph of the victim laying on the floor, the judge will see and it serves as evidences that the victim was stabbed or shot to death. We also studied the different documents. The question document, when some of the facts are appearing to be not true. This is the question document. I also learned that in police work, documents are called instrument. So it is like nickname for documents is the instrument. The public documents are notarized. Official documents are issued by government. Private documents are documents executed by private persons. Commercial documents are executed in accordance with the Code of Commerce. We also studied the polygraph instruments such as lie detectors or lie detections. Whenever my parents watch Rapi Tulfo in actions, in some cases they use the lie detector to determine who among the two parties is telling the truth. So if the authority are puzzled if the victim is saying or if the victim is telling the truth or the accused are telling the truth, they use lie detectors to show who among them are spitting facts. In ballistics, they focus on the firearm identification. There are some crimes that they use firearm instead of tools that can to kill a person. The interior ballistics focuses on the movement of bullet and projectile inside the firearm. Once it hit or reach the muzzle, it is called the exterior ballistics. The terminal is the impact to the victim by the gun and bullets. So if it hit the muzzle, it is exterior, and when it came out and hit the victim, for example in the head, in the chest, or in the back, it is called terminal ballistics. So there are different kinds of forensic ballistics that focuses on some cases. In ballistics, they focus on the firearm identification. There are some crimes that they use firearm instead of tools that can to kill a person. The interior ballistics focuses on the movement of bullet and projectile inside the firearm. Once it hit or reach the muzzle, it is called the exterior ballistics. The terminal is the impact to the victim by the gun and bullets. So if it hit the muzzle, it is exterior, and when it came out and hit the victim, For example, in the head, in the chest, or in the back, it is called terminal ballistics. So there are different kinds of forensic ballistics that focuses on some cases. All in all, there are a lot, but this is all I learned in the Introduction to Criminology. In the broad coverage of the Introduction to Criminology, I have learned lots and diverse things. It is all about the introduction, but very broad. I did not imagine how many definitions of terms are under Introduction to Criminology. However, this is also introduction, but a lot of things to be learned. The punishment, criminal behavior, environmental factors, etc., and how dominant it is about crimes. This is all what stand out about the introduction to criminology for me is the criminal behavior and how many criminal behavior, personality disorders, or phobias, or sexual behavior is dominant in committing a crime, because a person will not commit crime if he don't have problems in his psychological, if he don't have that disorder to commit crimes. The world of crimes are very big. As a law enforcement student, knowing all of this is a must. We have more way to go to understand these things. However, this primary knowledge will help us figure out why there is a crime. So, bilang isang law enforcement student, napakalaking tulong ng Introduction to Criminology for me to be familiarized in all the things that I need to learn. Introduction lamang ito, ngunit napakahaba na at ang dami nang dapat unawain at intindihin. Maaaring ito'y sinasabi lamang na kaugalian ng isang tao kung bakit siya nagkukumit ng crime. Ngunit ito ay mas may malalim na rason kung bakit kung bakit sila nakakakumit ng crime. Halimbawa na lamang ang mga masasama nilang experiences doon ay maaaring maging dahilan or leading reasons for them to commit a crime. Napakahaba nitong aming pinag-aralan, ngunit napakarami kong natutunan, lalong-lalo na kung gaano karaming mga klase ng krimen ang maaaring ma-violate ng isang tao, at hindi maaaring tawaging criminal ang isang tao kung hindi siya na-convict ng court. At ito ang aking natutunan bilang unang sabak pa lamang sa ganitong profesyon at bilang isang estudyante pa lamang na naghahangad na maging isang police officer. Napakalaking tulong nitong Introduction to Criminology para maging familiar ako sa lahat ng mga bagay-bagay na nararapat kong matutunan. Hindi lamang sa linya ng trabahong ito, ngunit sa kung ano pa. Marami pa akong dapat matutunan at nais ko na ito ay maibahagi sa mga tao na walang balak na pumasok sa ganitong trabaho. Bilang isang otoridad, dapat alam natin ang iba't ibang klase ng krimen, iba't ibang klase ng behavior ng mga tao upang mapigilan natin ang mas malawakang pagkakalat ng krimen sa ating bansa. Ang ating bansa ay may mataas na crime rate at dapat natin itong mapugsa. Bilang isang future police officer, nais kong maging parte ng pagtuligsa sa mga masasamang bagay, masasamang pangyayari sa ating bansa, lalong-lalo na pagdating sa krimen. This is all what I learned, and this is my reflections in journal video in the subjects of Crim 111.
As a criminology student, I have way more to go to learn the different factors about crimes, criminals, and their reasons. I've learned in all the lesson in Introduction to Criminology that it is important to know all the laws and all the classifications of crimes and their reasons. However, we can stop crimes as it is a natural phenomena, as they said, but we, as a law enforcement student, can make difference to catch all the people who commit crimes and give justice to the victims. It is important to learn the classifications of crime in order to identify what crimes a person committed.
Again, I'm Kristel Bautista from BS Criminology 183, and this is all I learned regarding the Introduction to Criminology.